Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. In this video, I am showing you how I made these absolutely gorgeously summery epoxy resin ice lolly keychains from scratch. We are making our own silicone mold. We are doing all of the work from scratch, A to Z in this video. Let's go. So the first step to making your own ice lollies, or whatever it is you want to mold really, is to create your mold housing. Now this is the silicone mold making housing from Let's Resin. They sent this to me a while back and you saw it in a recent video, so if you want to check that video out, I will leave it linked below, and it talks you through the whole system, how it works, etc. So the first thing you need to do is create the size that you want and then clip all the sides together, and then underneath you want to apply your double-sided tape that is going to tape it to your surface. I actually made it before the acrylic blanks arrived. Don't do that. You need to know what size you're working with. So when the acrylic blanks arrived, I knew I needed to make a much bigger mold housing. I ordered these from Moray Lothian Woodworks. You guys have heard of him. I get all of my blanks from him. I also ordered, how gorgeous, the little monstera and the cactus and the teeny tiny flamingos. I'm not sure how I'm going to mold those, if I'm honest. So once the blanks arrived for the lollipops, I realised how big I'd ordered them. And I knew I needed to use the biggest possible size for the Let's Resin mold housing. Now I did therefore have to dismantle it and put more sticky back plastic on the back and do it all again. But I did that off camera because no one needs to sit through that. So these acrylic blanks from Moray do arrive with a protective layer of film on. You just need to peel that back and you've got a super crisp, sparkly, shiny piece of acrylic. Try your best not to touch the surfaces because any fingerprints on these whatsoever will come out in your silicone, and then whatever you make in the future, you will have fingerprints in your epoxy resin. I don't think Jesmonite will pick them up, but you definitely have fingerprints in your epoxy resin. Now, I am using sticky back plastic or contact plastic. I think it's called different things around the world, but it's that plastic that you wrap your school books in to keep them protected. I am using sticky back plastic in this video sent to me by one of my patrons, and honestly, I've never tried this method before. I could have just placed these acrylic blanks down in the mold on a piece of Foamex board, but I wanted them to stick. I wanted to make sure that I got nice, neat, clean edges, and I was a bit nervous. I'm always nervous to just place things down that aren't stuck because I don't know, I'm worried they'll float. I'm worried that the silicone will seep in and under. I'm just kind of worried about it. So I figured I've tried sellotape, which works a dream with the silicone. I've tried Cricut vinyl, which does not work with this silicone. I would try sticky back plastic. So this is what I'm using, and it's good because it's a nice big size. I've got a nice flat edge. So once I've stuck all 4 down, I wanted to put all 5 in, but I just didn't have the space for it. So I've got all 4 down and I'm just tapping it down with my cotton bud just to make sure that they are fully sealed, and then I go over with a microfiber cloth to really polish up that surface. Now Let's Resin have told me that you can actually colour your silicone using mica powder, and I thought how beautiful that would be. But because I'm using transparent neon pigments in this project, I knew that I really wanted to keep my mold white because I just think it would help me see the colours better, especially in a project like this. But if you're making like a generic mold where the colour doesn't really matter, then definitely colour your silicone because I think it'd be fun. And I'm totally planning on colouring my silicone in the future. So this silicone, of course, is from Let's Resin. I am a Silicone Ambassador for them. All of the details for your 10% discount will be left below. That includes the mould housing, everything from Let's Resin. You can get 10% off with my code. This silicone is a 1-to-1 part A, part B, measurable by weight. So all I did was weigh out equal parts of silicone. I didn't weigh enough, so I had to make some more. And then you mix it thoroughly for 5 minutes. You mix slowly for 5 minutes, making sure that you completely combine both A and B before pouring. When you pour from quite high up. This is 2 foot off the desk, and that is going to eliminate air bubbles as it lands in your piece. And this is what it's looking like. Absolutely no leaks whatsoever. So this is the next day. I gave it a really good investigation to see if this new mould housing had any leaks whatsoever. Not a single one. It was clean and crisp. And if I turn it over like you can see here, that double-sided tape has done its job, sticking against the sticky back plastic. So neat. Now to demold. Take it from me, leave the clips on. Okay, leave the clips on. I've never used this mould housing, so this is just something I feel that I can share with you guys if you've bought this. I think the best way to demold this is to flip it upside down and peel the plastic off from the back before you unclip, because again, never used this before, so just forgive me for what you're about to witness, but it got messy. It got messy. I was actually like, oh, Claire, sort yourself out. Yeah, it got fiddly, it got messy, so I feel like, should I do this again, which of course I will be, leave the clips on, turn it upside down, peel the tape back, then you can sort your mould out afterwards. But there was only one left in there, took it away real nice, and they came out beautiful as well. Now, the first thing I noticed was how shiny these lollipops were. Super shiny and beautiful and perfect. But then I noticed that the surface of the silicone, very much like the Cricut vinyl, the surface of the silicone was sticky. The mould still works, absolutely perfect mould, and no issues there whatsoever. It's the fact that the silicone didn't like the sticky back plastic. So far I've tried the 3 things, and sellotape is for the win right now. So this is the next day. I allowed that silicone mould to just sit and be happy overnight, and now I'm going to fill them with resin. The first thing to mention is I am using leftover resin from a previous project, and this is actually not the most ideal resin. This is the Vista Rapids. This is top coating resin, which is not ideal for this depth of mould, but hey ho, I didn't want to throw the resin away, so this is leftovers, therefore we get some bubbles. That's all I have to say. Ideally, you'd use Vista Cascade in a mould of this depth. So I am using my Resin 8 neon pigments because straight away I was like, summer, ice lollies, have to be bright colours. They have to really scream summer. They have to scream summer. And the only way for me to really get that was to use my bright neon pigments. Now, these are somewhat transparent, but the more you add, like, don't overdo your pigment, but you can get them to where they are a little bit opaque like this. But yeah, absolutely loving it. I had the leftover resin, so I really was just trying to do what I could with the leftover resin that I had, and I decided to add a little bit of clear down into the stick end and then backfill it with the pink, and then that pushes the clear back towards the stick. You can see it doing it here, and I just went back and forth until I had it where they joined across at that line. And yeah, really just go with the flow and do whatever you feel. There was no rhyme or reason as to why I wanted some of the sticks to be clear. I just thought it would look pretty, but because I got a lot of air bubbles, because this resin's not ideal, this is a much thicker resin, and of course I couldn't get down and in there with the heat gun, so I do get some air bubbles for sure. With the leftovers, what I've got, I'm kind of hoping that I've got enough now to fill all 4, and I did, luckily, just about. So the 2 colours actually added together were my favourite combination. The yellow and the pink created this gorgeous orange in the middle, and it just gave me sunset feels, and I knew immediately, I then needed to get some palm trees from my Cricut because it screamed tropical sunset, and I absolutely love the 2 colours together. If I did this again, I might have even done 3 colours in each. I think that would have been absolutely gorgeous, and it's definitely inspired me to try some more with these neon colours, because I do have blue, green and orange that I did not use in this video, and I think that would absolutely be beautiful for some serious sunset landscape videos. So this is 24 hours later, time to demold, and honestly I'm in love with them. Like I said, the actual silicone lollipop sections are perfect. The silicone reacts really well to the blank acrylic, so we never have an issue there. It's just the surface that is sticky, but it doesn't take away from the function of the mold. I'm definitely planning on making more. Now, the one thing to note is that because I used the wrong resin, I used a top coating resin here because it was leftovers. I do have air bubbles all around and in and around the 90-degree angled edge. Usually with a top coating resin, you would get your blowtorch onto your artwork and you can torch those bubbles out, and it is so satisfying. But obviously, because this is in a silicone mold, you can't do that. That is when I decided Cricut vinyl was a must, and I came over to my Cricut. I looked through all of my brightly coloured vinyls. Now, the vinyls I'm using are from HTV Ron, not sponsored. They did sponsor me last year, but hand on heart, the nicest vinyl I have used. It's the easiest to weed. Now, to talk about this one, these are the faces that I wanted. I searched my Cricut for about an hour to find these little kind of what's the word? I don't know. I'm going to say emoji faces. Kawaii faces. Really, really love them. Couldn't find the exact faces I wanted, but I found them when I searched for popsicle. Obviously, Americans say popsicle. We say lolly. So I searched and I found them under a popsicle lolly design. Now, this design came with about 7 different layers, so I had to unweld all of the layers and break it right back down to the point where I could just use the faces. A little bit wasteful on the vinyl, I know, and I'm sorry for that, but honestly, yeah, they were the faces that I really, really wanted. I couldn't find those exact faces as a standalone cut out SVG. I had to go through and use the popsicle design. I also cut out some palm trees because black silhouettes against this sunset vibe I just knew would be beautiful. I also cut out, you can see at the beginning, I cut out the summer vibes. Didn't like it, didn't use it. I just was in love with the black. So all of my searching through all of my beautifully bright coloured vinyls kind of was wasteful. I ended up with black because I just felt like the silhouette against these colours. Look at this. Oh my gosh. Tropical beach. And this right here, what you're seeing on the screen, has inspired a future video. So I cannot wait to do that. Again, this vinyl, HTV Ron, easy to weed, easy to transfer. Honestly, my favourite vinyl by far. I'm loving these little faces. I'm absolutely loving these little faces. Again, the process to get these faces was a long one, but it had to be done. Here you see summer vibes, didn't like it, didn't use it. I just stuck to what I fell in love with, and that was these cute faces and the trees, and I absolutely love them. I love them so much, especially this palm tree one, because this palm tree one really would have gone across 3 of the lollies. It was so big, I was able to just cut it down and cut around and just cut out the sections that I really love. But yeah, I cut off any excess around the edges because the next step for us is to top coat these. Now, this is permanent Cricut vinyl, so you don't have to, but I really wanted to bring them back to life. Now, talking about top coating, I mentioned in a recent video, you can either use PVA glue or the other one. Oh my gosh, what is wrong with my brain today, guys? The latex. I used the latex in that video, and then I remembered PVA glue was so much better, so much faster, quicker, easier, doesn't smell, easier to spread, dries faster, generally all round easier. So in this video, I am using the PVA glue. The nail varnish has gone from my hands. Yes, I know. I'm trying to care for my nails and it's not going very well. But anyway, this is the PVA being brushed on, and this PVA was dry an hour later. Latex takes so many hours to dry, so PVA for the win. And I just made sure that I went over all 4, coating them thoroughly on the back, and you can see the way I'm using the brush. I'm just brushing out the edges, and it doesn't go over the edges. If it does go over the edge, like I think it does here, just get your hand and wipe it. Job's done. So easy. Really easy to apply. And the reason I'm doing this is to protect the backs when I do a top coat, because if any resin does go over the edge, it won't destroy the back. I won't have to sand it down. And now we are ready to top coat. Now, I am using Vista Rapids to top coat because of course that is a top coating resin and it's working perfectly. I have actually sped this section up for you guys because when I tell you I took my time, I took my time. It took me about 30 minutes to top coat all 4 of these pieces because I went so slowly. You can see all of the air bubbles here now in this resin, and this is the beauty of being able to top coat with Vista Rapids, because one blast of a torch eliminates all bubbles from your top coating resin. And honestly, I was so neat. I took my time. I know I've sped this up for you guys, but when you are top coating, go so slowly. Drag it to the edges, really gently to the edges, and resin doesn't go where resin's never been, so it should not. If your surfaces are level and you haven't poured too much on and your resin isn't too runny, it should not flow over the edge. So go really slowly and do what you can. Do what you can. Of course, you can always flood coat if you wanted to, because I have protected the backs. So if I really wanted to just pour the resin straight over and not care about it, you can flood coat. But I really wanted to try my best to get these as neat as possible. And look, oh my gosh, one blast of this torch and every bubble disappears. You can see how clear that resin becomes. So happy. I did give them like 2 or 3 blasts, and this is the next day. Honestly, I feel like this is the best top coating I've done. I didn't get a single solitary drip off. I was so happy. I even managed to get a gorgeous domed finish as well. So now it's time to peel the PVA off the back. Now, what I did forget to mention was, as soon as I applied the PVA, I actually put them down, as you can see here, on top of these miniature mixing cups. I put them down on top wet so that they'd kind of half stick, which gives me a little bit more control when it comes to top coating. Of course, you don't have to do that, and it's really easy to remove. So I just peel back all the dry section, and anything that's still wet in the middle, because it's been sitting on this cup, can just be wiped off with a wet wipe. Really no hassle at all. But yeah, I just wanted them a little bit tacky and a little bit stuck to the cups so that, yeah, more control. More control. And it really paid off because, guys, this top coat, I am so chuffed. Like, I'm beyond chuffed at how beautiful this top coat came out. Okay, we are going to finish them off now. I feel like I've been talking for hours and I'm so sorry. But this is my go-to drill, obviously linked below in my Amazon storefront. This is my go-to drill for resin and jesmonite jewellery, pendants, key rings, anything of small nature like this. It is an absolute godsend, USB operated, and it's a dream to use. I used to use my huge Black & Decker drill with a teeny tiny drill bit. So all of the keychains, the key rings, the jump rings, the eyelets, everything you see right here, the tools, everything's linked below. I have a whole keyring and jewellery section on my Amazon storefront, so you will see everything I'm using here linked below, and I think they make the most perfect keychains. Of course, they could be fridge magnets or anything you could possibly want them to be, but again, it depends what you mould. If you want any acrylic blanks, I recommend Moray thoroughly. They always come out beautiful, and these are purchased, they're not sponsored. I did buy them myself, but yeah, he makes really great things, and whatever you ask him for, he'll cut it. Like, he'll cut it. Send him a picture off Google, he'll cut it. So yeah, I was so happy. I absolutely adore the way these have come out. Probably one of my favourite projects in 2022. Because that top coat, I'm so proud of that top coat. I'm just, yeah, ridiculously chuffed. It's amazing how little things make me so happy. But I absolutely love the silhouette. I love the black against the neon. Let me know your thoughts. I hope you found this video helpful from start to finish, making our own silicone mould. Do not use sticky back plastic. It doesn't work really well. If you've got any other things that I could try, please let me know in the comment section down below. Sellotape is a dream. Works a dream with Let's Resin Silicone, but I need sellotape on a large, wide scale. I only have my packing tape. Do you know what I mean? I need big fat tape to be able to do something like this again. But yeah, really love them. I hope you've enjoyed the process. Like I said, everything will be linked below. Your Let's Resin code for the silicone mould housing. It comes with the double-sided tape as well. Everything comes together, all linked below. I hope you've really enjoyed it. Again, I'm going to stop talking because we're nearly 20 minutes in. This is the longest video I've done in ages. So if you are still here, give me a heart emoji, because I can imagine so many people being gone after 4 minutes. But I really appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Again, I never remember to say it at the beginning, but if you could hit that thumbs up, I'd really appreciate it. And I we'll see you all in the next video. Bye.